Hey, this is Alex Kasiniak and welcome to this tutorial. Now, what I wanted to do was make like a Pokeball, and I've been playing around with this for a while. Here's a recent blend that I did, just fooling around trying to make one, and I think I've got a solid result, well, a pretty decent result, and it's kind of what I wanted to work towards in a tutorial. So, just some basic design like this. Okay, so I'll get started here. So I'm just going to open up a new scene, and the first thing I want to do is actually delete the default cube. So when you have the cube selected, you want to press delete, and then delete that right there. Okay, so next I want to add a UV sphere. So Shift S, or Shift A, sorry, to add an object, and you want to add a mesh, and then UV sphere. Okay, this is good, except we want to bring down the rings and segments. So in the toolbox right here, toolbar or whatever you want to call it, you have the segments and rings at your disposal. So let's put the segments down a little bit. I'm going to say about 18 for the segments and then 12 for the rings. And then you can just hide the toolbar by pressing T. So it's not really in our way. Okay, so we have our UV sphere. Now you can go to front view, and what I want to do now is I actually want to duplicate this, so we have two spheres, one on the inside and then another outer sphere. So what we can do is just press Shift D to duplicate, and now we have this duplicate selected, and we have it grabbed, and then you can just press right mouse button to kind of snap it back into there. Okay, so what I want to do now is actually go into edit mode with the new sphere, the duplicate, and press R to rotate, and then 90 degrees, so 90 on the keyboard, and then on the x-axis, so the center is actually facing us. Okay, so then I also want to size this up a little bit, because you can see that the mesh is kind of interacting with the other one, because we rotated it. So we don't really want it overlapping like that. And we actually want to size it up anyways, for the model's sake. So what you want to do is just press, you can actually go into wireframe to make it a little bit easier. And then you can press S to size it up. And just a little bit like that. So it's a little bit bigger. Okay, so now what we want to do actually is delete this bottom half right here of the new bigger sphere. So we can also go into edit mode, and we want to make sure that our back faces occluded back faces isn't selected, so we want to turn that little option off. And that means that we can select all the faces, the back faces, and everything. Okay, so we want to border select the bottom vertices, so B to border select, and just drag across those bottom vertices. Okay, so we have those selected. Now you just want to press D or delete vertices. So they're deleted now. Okay, so we have those deleted. And let's actually apply a mirror modifier now. So in object mode, we can go over to the modifiers panel over here, and then we can just add a modifier, and we want to select mirror. And we don't want it mirroring on the x-axis, we want it on the z. So you can select Z and deselect X. We don't want clipping turned on, by the way. And we can then tab into edit mode, select everything, and we actually want to bring this up a little bit. So you can grab on the Z axis or just use the manipulator to bring this up just a bit. So something like that. Maybe even a little slightly less. Okay, so then in a perspective view, you want to grab this vertex right here and just delete that. So then it kind of leaves a little space there, and you can kind of guess at what's happening here. Okay, so we have that all sorted out, except we might want to color this a different color so we can distinguish it a little bit better. So this one in the back here, or in the middle, the smaller UV sphere, we can just select that, go over to the materials panel over here, then click new, and change the diffuse to like pure black, and don't have any specularity also, so scroll down, or slide this intensity of the specularity down. Okay, so we have that all pretty much figured out. Now we want to kind of shade this in a smoother way, so we can select the other sphere, tab into edit mode, select everything by pressing A, press W for the specials menu. Now we can go down to shade smooth, and that will give us a smooth shading on the surface. Okay. Another thing I want to do is add a subsurface modifier so we get a more transition smooth and more geometry to the sphere. Okay. So we can go over to the modifiers panel right here, and we can add a new modifier, and we want to add a subdivision surface, so this modifier. Okay, as you can see, we're getting a nice smooth transition now, and it's looking a lot better. We don't really need render at 2, so you can just set the view and render at 1. You also might notice that it rounds off the corners over here, and we might need to add some extra edge loops just to sharpen that up. But for now, we're just going to stick with that. Okay, so we got a nice thing happening here. What I want to do next, I think, is add the circle within here. So I'll do that now. I guess from side view, you want to put the cursor right about there. So all I'm doing is left clicking to center the cursor, or to put the cursor wherever I want. And then I'm going to press Shift A to add an object, and I'm going to add a mesh cylinder. Okay, so that's kind of big. So we can size down that, and also go into wireframe just so you can see it better. We can rotate 90 degrees, so R90 on the y-axis, bring it out, and we want to size down on the y-axis till it's about like that size, well, a little bit more. And we can, finally, we can actually go into tab to go into edit mode, and we want to deselect everything, border select the back faces, and press delete to delete those faces. So now you can see we have a cylinder that's kind of ready to fit right in there. Okay, so from side view, you can then start to pull this towards the hole that's right there. And let's actually size this down a little bit, even a little bit more. You can do this from a perspective view, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, that should be good. So pull it out. Yeah, just like that.